were flying up so high. But then someday people look at you, they're what they call their own, they watch you suffer. Yeah, here you're coming home. And then someday we could take our time to brush the leaves aside so you can't reach us. Hey, but you left me far behind. And I know, did I mean to treat you so bad? But I did it anyway, nonsense but me. Some would say you left with what you had, but you couldn't tell the pain, mama, now. Couldn't share the pain and watch you suffer. Now maybe could have made my own mistakes, but I live with what I've known. And then maybe we might share in something great. Won't you look at where we've grown? Won't you look at where we've gone? And then someday comes tomorrow holds sense of what I feel for you in my mind. As you trip the fine line, and that cold day when you lost control. Shame you left my life so soon, you should have told me. Hey, but you left me far behind. Now me, did I mean to treat you so bad? Oh, but I did it anyway. Now me, some would say you left with what you had. Oh, but you couldn't tell the pain. No, no, no.
Well, all right. That is a blast from the past. If you know that song, then you are probably around my age range. That song got me through a lot. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. I am broadcasting this on 2 channels tonight, so hopefully we get a good turnout. My other channel is The World of Wonder. Well, how's everybody doing tonight? Doc, how you doing? Rondi Potter. You know, Nina is supposed to be in here with me, so I'm going to keep this going until she shows up. Let me show you a picture of my baby. This is my baby right here. I don't want my girlfriend to see that because she'll be like, I thought I was your baby. Well, you are. You know how we say things. Everything's our babies. Everything's our babies. You know what I mean? So she'll be like, I thought I was your baby. Well, you are my baby. You know how it goes. Well, we're waiting on Nina and anybody else who happened to drop by. So we're going to talk about a case that Nina brought to my attention earlier, and she wanted to talk about it. So I thought, well, we can both get online and talk about it, and also have an open panel for other people to be able to come up and, just talk with me. Doc, would you be able to do that? Would you like to do that? Would you like to come up on panel and let us know who you are? I mean, you don't have to, but I'll give you the link if you want to. Well, we're waiting on Nina. Always waiting on a woman. I swear. Waiting on a Woman. Y'all know that song, right? By, what's his name? Don't be shy. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to do any of that. Just talk with me. Just like you were in a chat. You don't have to show your face. Waiting on a Woman by, God, what's that guy's name? Paisley. Brad Paisley. You ever heard that song? Waiting on a Woman by Brad Paisley? It's a good song. It had the late Andy Griffith in there in the video, and they did a wonderful job shooting that video. I mean, I think it was one of the last videos that Andy shot before he passed away. But it was an awesome song, awesome video. If YouTube didn't have such stringent freaking policies, I could show the video. If y'all are over on the World of Wonder chat, why don't y'all come on over to the 12 gauge investigative one? That's where we're all at. So y'all come over here. That way we can see you. That way we can talk to you. Well, we're glad that you're here. I mean, you don't have to lurk. You don't have to say much. Just, interact with the crowd. We're pretty chill over here, At least I try to think we are. There's a lot of people that have different opinions, but I think we're pretty chill for the most part. I was going to show something one day that I thought was pretty cool. But I forgot what I was looking at. And because I was thinking, man, I'll show that one day while I have nothing else to really talk about. Because I don't want to talk about true crime right now. I want to talk about just life in general, because sometimes life happens so fast, and sometimes people need to talk. They just need to talk. They just need for somebody to listen, They just need people to listen. You ever feel that way? Like you just need somebody to listen? Like you feel like, life is so freaking wild that it would be nice to have somebody to talk to, somebody to listen. I guess I'm going to play this. Hopefully it's not live. Well, I'm waiting on Nina. I texted her already. Have y'all ever went to a waterfall like that? I think they have some at like our Arkansas. I've been to some in Arkansas like that. Um, I've heard there's waterfalls like that in the Pacific Northwest. You know, sometimes it's good just to go by and sit next to a waterfall and just chill and let your mind just kind of relax. But sometimes we can't leave our house because we don't have the funds, we don't have the mode of transportation, we don't have a lot of things that life kind of gets us down every now and then. But one thing that I've learned about YouTube is you can go anywhere in the world you want to go pretty much by typing it in, and it'll take you anywhere and everywhere. Rondi says, yes, I go to Noma Falls. It's beautiful. Well, you know what, Rondi? One day you might have to take a video or some pictures so you can email them to me and I'll show them. Because, sometimes it's cool just to look at nature. Sometimes it's cool just to listen to stuff that doesn't have to do with negativity, doesn't have to do with who's right, who's wrong. Sometimes it's just cool to be chill, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. When I first started this channel, I wanted to push, there she is. I wanted to push the addiction and the healing and the serenity part to it. Also incorporate, the true crime, obviously. But for whatever reason, it never really caught on. Never really caught on. Mount Tabor Park is wonderful also. Awesome. Let me find another waterfall. That one's cool. That one's a cool one for migraines and headaches. So if you're lurking, come on into chat. Come on, hang out with us. This one's cool. They're cool. They're cool. No, if I was younger, I would definitely take a rap on that trip. I don't know so much about now. I don't know if it's because I'm older or just because my mortality is right there in front of my face. I'd love to take something down there that would guarantee I wouldn't slip over in the water. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, that would be something, Oh, that water's too loud. I said when I was younger, I would have rowed a boat or something down there, a tube. But now that I'm older, not so much. Not so much. I don't know if it's because I'm older and my mortality is right there in front of me, or if it's just I don't really trust my skills. You know what I mean? And that's awesome that you went to Kauai, the Queen's Garden, high water, huge waterfall. I went to Iguazu Falls in Argentina. Beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun, but I'd have to be strapped in where, if it turned over, I wouldn't be like, because I've had some friends that have rode rafts and they've hit those rocks and it turned over the raft and the raft had gotten caught and some of my friends have almost drowned. So just hearing those stories just kind of makes me hilarious. So that one's pretty cool. That one's pretty cool. See, I think this would be more my style right here. This would be more my style, I think. You know that water's cold as heck too. You know it is. I mean, if anything, I would just go and walk beside there, take a drone by there, and take some footage or whatever. Yeah, I love to go tubing. Love to go tubing. Not in something that fast, but a nice little lazy river. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, I wish I was experienced enough to be on a kayak. And you know how you see those kayak people going down the river? And even if they flip over, they're still good. That'd be so cool to do that. There's a place in Arizona that I'm seeing. Let me see if I can find it. There's a place in Arizona that you can go kayaking, but it's not real deep. And it's beautiful. It's like right through some mountain areas. There she is. There she is. Introduce yourself to the fam.
Oh, that would be Nina. My brain runs faster than my mouth.
Yeah, I think we'll get on that for a second. I want to show this really quick.
Okay.
Um, I've always seen stuff. Maybe this is the place or not, but if it's not, this looks awesome too. I'm going to turn the sound down because I don't want to get copyrighted. Hold on a second. Nina, are you an outdoors type person?
I used to be. I have gone kayaking, whitewater rafting. I have bungee jumped. Uh, Kayaking, I didn't do very well with that. I think I stayed underwater more than I stayed on top of the water.
Man, I flipped a kayak, and since then I've been terrified.
That's what I'm saying. I think I stayed under because I don't know how the new kayaks are now, but the ones that I was in, it had that big rubber thing that you
Yeah,
squeeze down in, and so
yeah,
when you turn over, you didn't fall out. You just said blump blump
yeah.
and flip
See,
right back up.
I actually went to fish in my kayak, and I had the poles all in front, and I went to reach for the furthest one. Next thing I know, I'm under the damn kayak in the water. The kayak is floating away. My keys are floating away. My phone is floating away. Everything is floating away. I did
Well,
have a life.
did you see the whale that ate the kayaker?
No, no.
Yeah, there's actually a video out right now. You ought to look it up and play it. It's about 2 seconds. But anyway, the whale jumps up, and when it jumps up, it comes down and it eats the kayaker.
Is
And
that
then
real? Or is that like
yes, it spits him out.
an AI thing?
No, it's not an AI thing. It's real.
All right, I'll check it out. Hold on. Mickey, what part of Texas are you from? I live in the almost by Fredericksburg, that area in the hill country. So, all those, the Frio River, the Guadalupe, all that usually go not kayaking, but tubing over there. Seabrook. Okay. Cool. Well, welcome, fellow Texans. See, us Texas folks, we got to hang together. Yeah, I know. I know where Seabrook is. I've been to that little port, Seabrook, by the ocean. It's right there by the ocean, by Galveston, kind of. It's called Seabreeze, I think. Seabreeze or something like that. I stayed in a condo over there. So you're not by the Gulf, are you, Nina? You're up in the northern part of Alabama?
Yeah, I'm closer to Tennessee.
Okay.
I can get to Tennessee a whole lot quicker than I can get to Mobile.
Okay.
So
Let me fast
I think I'm about 5 or 6 hours from the beach.
See, that's what that water looks like down there where you're at. That clear. Oh, how's it a duck? You ever had duck, Nina?
No, I have not had duck. I guess duck would probably be about the only.
I sent our guest a StreamYard link, so I don't know if she's going to show. The person that you said might show up.
Yeah.
I Facebooked her a StreamYard link, so I don't know. She might show up. I don't know if y'all were talking or not. Were y'all
Yeah.
talking?
Oh yeah. I mean she's good. But I don't know if she's ready to jump back in. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
I told her that if she didn't want to jump right in, but if she just wanted a safe place to chat, that we, would give
Yeah,
her that and just not ever say who she was or anything.
right. Exactly. Well, Nina had this case that she was talking about earlier. This is a little bit of true crime, but it's on the opposite end. This is actually, what would you call it?
What do you
Corruption.
call true crime? That the police are the true crime.
All right. Well, let's watch this, and then we'll continue on with the open panel. Here we go.
Of this process, they reviewed the evidence for days, and they weren't afraid to ask tough questions. This grand jury upheld their oaths on behalf of the citizens of Coleman County, and they were unanimous in their recommendations, and they were unanimous in all the indictments that I have listed. I want to talk about the evidence room, and we're going to have another slide for you. One of the most concerning things that we discovered in this process was that Huntsville Police Department's evidence room was not secure. Criminal evidence must be secured in order to have that evidence for prosecution and to ensure due process. This evidence room was anything but secure. This photo here is the outside wall to the evidence room, and you will see this hole in the evidence room. This picture was taken on August 23rd, 2024. You will also notice a broomstick in the corner that is green with a white handle on it. And in the next couple slides, you will see what that broomstick was used for in this hole. And I'm not going to name the individual pictured here. This is someone who works there. And you can see this individual has this stick in his hand and is pushing it in the door, in the hole to Jimmy open the door. And the grand jury watched a lot of videos. This is from security camera footage showing this evidence room was routinely accessed by individuals who were not authorized to do so, going in and out using this stick through the hole in the wall. And we have one more photo of that. This is from the same transaction here where this individual who had the stick is actually sticking his head and upper body into the hole, attempting to jimmy open the door, which was a quite common occurrence.
So, Nina, give us a little background of that. Nina?
Leave it up to my dogs to always want to go out. It's like, hey, mama's on the panel. It's time to go out. Give a little bit of background. So this guy's sticking his head through the little hole. So anyway, there's a block that fits in that hole, and they take it out, and then they reach through there, and that's how they unlock the door to get into the evidence room.
So what were they doing in the evidence room?
Oh, they were taking the oxycodone and the steroids and all that. And the reason that this got started is because they found their dispatcher in the dispatch office dead from fentanyl.
Okay.
And that's how all of it got started.
So this guy is trying to open the evidence room door
Yep.
through the hole.
Yes.
That is a police officer.
And it starts with an A because I didn't know that there was like different kind of, I mean, I know there medically is different kinds of steroids, but this is like analogic something. It starts with an A, steroid, and they would take it to the hospital, and one of them's wife was a registered nurse, so they would go to the hospital on duty, and the chief's wife or whoever's wife would give them their steroids, and they would work their shift high.
Anabolic.
That's our final slide for that. I want to say this for the citizens of Hanceville. The citizens of Hanceville
How far are you from there?
deserve equal protection under the law. They
I
deserve to
say
have a
about
safe
45 minutes.
community just like everyone else in this county. I have been in touch with Hanceville officials this week. Mayor
got a
Sawyer
nice
and
little
the
college.
council have pledged their full cooperation throughout this process. This morning, Hanceville Municipal Judge Heath Maherg entered an order calling for an audit of the evidence room, and he is joining me in asking state officials to conduct that audit. With these indictments, these officers find themselves on the opposite end of the laws they were sworn to uphold. Wearing a badge is a privilege and an honor, and that most law enforcement officers take seriously. A badge is not a license to corrupt the administration of justice. And when law enforcement officers abuse their power, they do damage to the public's trust in law enforcement. Our law enforcement officers in this county put their lives on the line every day to protect the citizens. And those officers who would break the law diminish the sacrifices of the overwhelming majority of officers who protect and serve. And when law enforcement officers do not meet the standard that they should, they will be held accountable. Now,
As they should.
in their
As they
recommendation,
should, you know? I mean, there's nobody above the law. You break the law, you should be held accountable, just like everybody else.
You know, really though, if you think about it, they should be held to a higher standard.
Oh, of course.
I mean, that's the thing about it is, you know, they're the ones that are supposed to be protecting us. And, you know, in my eyes, they should be held to a higher standard, and they should be. I mean, I guess just because it makes me mad, they should be punished different.
Well, I mean, these types of individuals are the ones that give good law enforcement a bad name.
Exactly. And you can't tell me that little girl, that every law enforcement is dirty.
Right, right.
Hang on.
Calling for an audit of the evidence room, and he is joining me in asking state officials to conduct that audit.
I don't think they care, Robbie.
With these indictments, these officers find themselves on the opposite end of the laws they were sworn to uphold. Wearing a badge is a privilege and an honor, and that most law enforcement officers take seriously. A badge is not a license to corrupt the administration of justice. And when law enforcement officers abuse their power, they do damage to the public's trust in law enforcement. Our law enforcement officers in this county put their lives on the line every day to protect the citizens. And those officers who would break the law diminish the sacrifices of the overwhelming majority of officers who protect and serve. And when law enforcement officers do not meet the standard that they should, they will be held accountable. Now, we will allow some time for questions. I'm not going to discuss the facts of these cases. I will answer any general questions to the extent possible, but first I will defer to Sheriff Gentry.
Thank you, D.A.
Yes, it is, Robbie.
You know, there's nothing more important to us in law enforcement than good, honest law enforcement. When we have those that do wrong, it hurts us all. The reason I'm standing here today with the district attorney, because I believe in doing what's right. But I also want to stand up for the law enforcement, men and women of the sheriff's office, men and women of the police department here in Coleman, troopers, and law enforcement across the state of Alabama for the 99% that do what is right. We always hear there's the 1%. Well, today you're seeing the 1%. But we always have to stand up for what's right. And those men and women that go out every day to make a sacrifice that we're protected. The other issue I want to address is once I knew the grand jury's findings and the report, myself and members of the command staff started meeting to assure the citizens of Hanceville one thing: safety. And I want to speak to those citizens. I know right now that you're going through a range of emotions, from anger, hurt, all of the things that we feel when our trust has been betrayed, fear. But I can assure you, members of the sheriff's office here in Coleman County, we have already met. I have spoken to members of Hanceville, the mayor and the council. We will do what is necessary to protect our citizens in Hanceville, because they're not just citizens of Hanceville, they're citizens of Coleman County. And as sheriff, we protect all citizens of Coleman County. That's what I've been doing for the last 25 and a half years, and that's what I'll continue to do. Days like this come and go, but good law enforcement will stand the test of time. And I'm pleased to be standing here with the district attorney and all of those that do what is right. So thank you for being here, and thank you for getting out the truth.
So the grand jury found that the Hanceville Police Department is a particular and ongoing threat to public safety. Can you expand on what that threat is and tell us how it's an ongoing threat to public safety?
I believe that finding was based on the charges themselves, based on their observations of the conduct that had been going on. The charges that go to that finding speak for themselves.
Do you expect any other charges to go with this?
For these defendants, I do not expect any other charges unless there is new evidence. As for anyone else, I can't say at this time.
It says the police department should be abolished. Is that happening?
You would have to ask the city of Hanceville about that. I have not heard of what their plans are in that respect.
So these recommendations are made to the city of Hansville and then they take action on them.
The
Good evening,
recommendations have been made to the public at large, and then whatever action is taken will be up to the mayor and the council.
And what's going to happen with these cases that the evidence is tampered with?
Some of those cases are in the municipal court of Hanceville. Some of those cases, if they're felonies, are cases that we handle in state court. We are going to begin a review process of all those cases. We will look at those on a case-by-case basis. I am not optimistic about the ability to prosecute cases with tampered evidence.
Do you know how many cases there are?
We are working on that. One is too many.
Can you touch on the dispatcher that passed away? It mentions here negligence from the police department. What happened in his case, Mr. Willingham? What happened in his case as to why there was negligence that led to his death?
Well, the grand jury reviewed a lot of material. Not all of it was the subject of charges. No one.
Okay, Nina, can you rehash what's going on for the people that just jumped in? Hey, Salty. Hey, Texas.
Okay, so Hansville,
The baby-
Alabama.
The baby.
Hansville, Alabama. They come in one day and their dispatcher is in the dispatch office dead on fentanyl. Well, when something like that happens, you can't really just keep covering something like that up. Somebody's going to miss the dispatcher. And so an investigation started. And so let's see, I think it's 2023, it really heated up. And in the last 4 days, the grand jury has recommended the whole thing be abolished and disbanded. And because they were going in the evidence room and getting all the drugs out.
It looks like Hanceville or Hanceville, Alabama.
Yeah, it's Hance, Hanceville.
Okay, Hanceville. All right, so I hope you are caught up. Let's continue on. Salty, you want to come up after this video? Because we're going to have open panel. We're just going to talk. So if you'd like to come up on panel, let me know and I'll send you the link.
Was charged in these indictments with Mr. Willingham's death. However, the SBI obtained a good bit of security camera footage and so forth. And let me say this, I'm not here to defend Chris Willingham, and I am not here to tear him down. He has a family and friends. He's been around for a long time. But the unfettered access that a lot of people had to the evidence room, I believe, is the basis for that recommendation.
Can I make an add something? So let me add something to that. So anytime in law enforcement, you're held accountable to all actions. One of the most important things that we can do for the prosecution of crimes is a chain of custody. So you must set a standard for that chain and the ability to keep it secure at first go. And when that is not met, you see incidents and things that has happened like we're talking about today. So, you know, it's a task to ensure that that is the level of security that you need. And there's a lot of policies and procedures in place. If law enforcement agencies go by those and do what's right, it's never. One of the things at the sheriff's office is we get audited every couple of years by the state. One of the things they do is review our evidence room. And so you have to have those measures in place to provide that security and accountability for law enforcement.
So to follow up on that, the coroner released to us that his cause of death was due to fentanyl, right? So are you trying to say here maybe fentanyl was not kept in a secure place that may have led to maybe too much exposure to Mr. Willingham's death?
Well, I would just say that nothing was secure about the evidence room and when Mr. Willingham was discovered, there was evidence in his office.
Have those 5 officers at first
Man, that sounds shady as hell. Like nothing secure. You get to go in there and shop at your will. You know, that's just terrible, man. That's terrible stuff right there.
Well, now before you can go in there and go shopping, you got to go through the hole in the wall.
If not,
Well, you got to get that Dollar Tree broom out first. Hope to God the bristles don't break, right? Huh, Nina? Yeah, so much
Yes, I
for
was catching up on chat. Sorry.
so much for an audit. You're right.
down 5 officers, is the Coleman County Sheriff going to increase patrols to the city?
I'm not sure what everyone's status is. I would defer to the city of Hanceville to update you on what the status of those officers is. And I would just mention this about the chain of custody and why that is so important. When we go to court and we are introducing evidence from the evidence locker, part of our burden is showing that evidence in the courtroom, whether it's guns, drugs, whatever, is the evidence that was seized by the officer who made the arrest. And the chain of custody goes into effect from the minute an officer seizes evidence in terms of documented who handled it, where it went. Maybe it's taken out to go get forensic testing at the state crime lab. That happens. It comes back, it's sealed, and it is secured. And that is how prosecution is done, is we have to prove the integrity of that process. You cannot have a prosecution if you do not have the integrity of the evidence.
The fentanyl that was in Mr. Willingham's system, did he intend to get into the evidence room, or was it not secured until he came across it? That's what.
I'd say that Mr. Willingham was given access to the evidence room through what you just saw, and he had access to it on his last day of work.
And let me answer, there was kind of the similar questions. We have not received a formal request yet at the sheriff's office to take over the Hanceville area in Coleman County, but we are making preparations. Our command staff, the deputies know, because number one, their number of officers is down. So we're already making preparations to be responding to calls to ensure the citizens of Hanceville are safe and secure and taken care of by the sheriff's office.
The officers were left now at this point.
We do not. I do not.
If it is disbanded, will you also take over, or what are we doing?
No, we will take it over. If they are disbanded, I've already spoke with the chairman, the county commission. We've already started negotiations with the leadership in Hanceville to see what it would look like. But we would take over all responsibilities from patrol in that area, investigation in that area, dispatch, and or the jail. Of course, you know, we have the jail here where we run over 400 inmates a day. So.
And you did mention
Wow.
the Hanceville jail and the conditions that there were subpar. Can you give
Not
us
a
some
lot,
hints
not a lot,
about the
Leslie.
conditions and what was-
Welcome.
You know, that was a recommendation the grand jury made. I have not physically been in their jail. You know, one of the requirements of a grand jury is to come through and inspect our facility every time they meet. So for us, we take a lot of pride in our facility and the way we run our detention center. I would assume that
Hey,
what they
Gabe, we
saw
take a lot
was
of
not
pride
up
in the
to
way we
par.
run it with
But
that
if we
hole in the
take
wall.
over inmates for Hanceville, we will not use their facility. They will be coming to our facility.
What happened to those inmates that were in the Hanceville jail?
If the sheriff's office takes
They got
over the Hanceville jail, then those inmates will be transferred to our facility. We currently house the city of Coleman's inmates, county inmates, state inmates, and we also have federal inmates. So we would just shift them to us.
So no one should be in there right now, today?
We've
No
not
inmates.
taken over the facility
You
yet.
have not?
No, we
Okay.
have not.
Have a previous drug history, and then he obtained the drugs on his own.
I don't want to get into Mr. Willingham's history out of respect for him and his family. but Mr. Willingham was given access, like a lot of other people, to the evidence room.
Is Mr. Williams on the death that is associated with the Hinsville Police Department?
Repeat that question.
Is Mr. Williams the only death associated with the Hinsville Police Department?
I'm not aware of any others. Mr.
Can you
Speaker?
speak on the sentencing ranges as far as jail time, prison time, felony versus misdemeanor?
So the misdemeanors that were charged in these cases are Class A misdemeanors. Under Alabama law, they carry up to 1 year of confinement. All of the felonies that were charged in these cases are Class B felonies, which carry 2 to 20.
Are they, did they make bond?
My understanding is that these defendants have all made bond. The sheriff might can speak more to that. I believe they were arrested and turned in today.
Sure. All of the defendants have made valid bonds through one means, whether it was a secured bonding company, secured property bonds, but all have made bonds currently.
Sheriff, were any of these officers ever employed by the Baltimore Sheriff's Office?
Sure. So that's a great question, and it kind of answers itself. There were a couple that had been employed by us, but I will say this: if you come to work here and your values and standards and integrity does not meet ours, then you won't be employed here long. You'll either move on or you'll be terminated. And so with that question of they used to be, they no longer work here for the few that did.
Were they terminated?
A couple, correct.
Can you give us some more information on how Ms. Donna Kelso, the spouse, was involved in this? Was she allowed in the evidence room? Was she just tampering with evidence in general?
No, so her husband, Eric Kelso, was a reserve officer at the city of Hanceville, but there is no evidence that she was ever in the evidence room, that she ever tampered with any evidence. She is not charged with that. The charges against her are based on other things. And I would say that the indictments have all been made public. They are on file at the Coleman County Courthouse in the clerk's office. And those indictments, we have to give defendants notice of what they're accused of doing. Those indictments spell that out a little bit more.
Does this have anything to do with any other case, or is it just to do with
Wow. Huh. They need to fire everybody and start over.
The little short one to me was more informational than the long one. The little second long, it was like, I don't know, it might be 2 minutes and it had all that information in there. I was like, how you do that?
I got something for y'all.
Okay.
See it? Y'all see that?
Oh my Lord. Have you seen the one in the orange bikini?
No. That one just for you, Leslie. I mean, not Leslie, Melissa. My bad. Leslie, don't kill me. That one's for you, Melissa. Oh my God. But
That's too funny.
so, Salty, you want to come up on panel and hang with Nina and myself? I sent you the link, so you're more than welcome. Sometimes we need a little humor. Yeah, you gotta laugh. Not this one.
So
Okay.
I received
Okay.
I received an email,
Okay.
and I have kept it really, really quiet and everything because I
Okay.
really didn't know if I should keep it quiet or if I shouldn't keep it quiet because I haven't been doing this long enough. That is that a what they call a what do y'all say? Y'all have not a contact, a source.
A source. What you got a source on, Nina?
Well, I actually have a source that states that there was no affiliations, no CI, and that with that being said, it's safe to say there was no retaliation.
No retaliate. Well, I'm confused. I'm missing something.
Dude, what case are we talking about here?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you know that case we always talk about.
Oh, I thought we were
Talking
talking
about
about.
Idaho?
Yeah.
That what happened was a retaliation
Yeah,
thing.
no, they were saying that it was not. And they are like,
Saying what? But the murders weren't a retaliation thing.
yeah, what it was they were talking about the affiliations and what
Oh,
exactly?
the Aryan Knights. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And it
Oh,
was
good
talking
Lord,
about
yeah.
that the big bust that they've had in the last couple of years that
Some
they
people-
would not use knives, and that they can assure me that there was no affiliation, no CI, and without no affiliation and no CI, there's no retaliation.
I think anybody with a critical brain could probably try to get to that by now. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
But
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of not critical people out there.
Honey, I know, especially when it comes, I'm telling you, like I stated this morning, well, it actually, people are still out there saying that, suspicious things were going on Linda Lane video with that darn truck, excuse me. And that's
You're
nothing,
fine. I said
and
worse.
that didn't happen. They came in to chat and literally were directing everybody to another channel to go watch a video where
What?
you can see the bodies being loaded into the black truck on the Linda Lane footage, and you can definitely see a girl and Murphy, the girl allegedly being Dylan, and none of that happened. I watched all that concocted live based upon shadows and movements that weren't happening, and then I can direct you to how we all debunked their craziness, because the whole
Let the
time they were
bodies-
focused on that black truck and all this stuff they thought they were seeing, they all ignored what that light colored sedan was over there doing on the left side of the screen. How
Let the
convenient.
bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Right. I mean, so all that, Aryan Nation, I know where all that's coming from. I know who's driving that narrative. But it's a bunch of bull. Let me ask y'all this.
Okay.
You know the
yeah.
four brothers that were
Okay,
mentioned
Jack.
in the document? Because they got, there's going to be a lot of chatter about those four brothers that were a low match. So if you got those names and they're a low match, do you still investigate them? First of all, did their phone numbers show up in any of the geofencing warrant that was done? Probably not. Where were they during the time of the crimes? Did they live near the crimes? Did they live in the state? Can you verify where those four brothers were during the crimes? I bet they can, which therefore rules them out. So now I'm thinking, are people just considering that, okay, they got IGG and got his name. Now they've manufactured all of the car footage from around town to fit a white sedan, and they've manufactured all the phone data they gathered once they began doing warrants of where that particular phone was pinging. All that's manufactured now, right? Is that all? I mean, not in my mind, but that's where people need to start. If they, bring that argument, if you're going to bring any argument at all, which is also, to me, ridiculous.
Well, I went over that document last night. I don't know if you were in the chat.
I was for a little while because I did 2 days. I read all of those documents. Took me 2 days on a live to read.
Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's and the semen and the freaking
that didn't even occur at the Kohberger crime scene, people. That was a case.
That was another case. Yeah,
it was a whole other case, and I had people telling me, "What about the semen? What about it? Did you read the document correctly? Because it clearly states that was a case they were citing, and it didn't come from the crime scene at 1122 King Road."
Yeah, it didn't. I was reading it, and I was like, "Hold on a second." I scrolled down a little bit, and then I was like, "This is the same damn case that I started with at the beginning, the Carbo case." And I was
Yeah,
like,
it was. Hmm.
how did they mistake this for being the Idaho 4 case? Is this something they wanted to just throw
Yeah.
out there? Yes, you know?
Yes. It's got to. Yeah, we got to keep that narrative going. Not me, but some people do. All at all costs, that narrative has to continue. And so, yeah, how did they get that? I mean, because it clearly states it was a case they were talking about. One of her cases. It didn't have any bearing on this case, obviously. The judge even said that. But yeah, that was a whole different case they were discussing an example of. And people took away that meant that all happened at the crime scene at King Road. So I can't anymore with ridiculousness and trying to explain to people, but I will certainly take my time to try if I need to.
So, Salty, how was your week? I mean, other than this stuff, how was your week? I mean,
Good.
this is kind of a chill time right here where we kind
Yep.
of unwind
I
little
had a
bit.
good week.
A good week.
I'm at home a lot now. I don't have to be on the road doing things all the time, so I'm just been chilling. But I'm not happy with the cold weather anymore. I'm so over it.
Yeah.
I don't complain in
you?
summer, so I'll complain all winter.
Well, I know I'm from Texas, so we have those summers really doesn't heat up till like August. So August it's like 106,
Oh,
108.
dude. Yeah. People could, yeah, I don't even complain when it reaches that. I'm in Florida, so I know all about some heat and humidity. And I can go in the house and get in the air conditioner, or I can go to the river. You know what I mean? But in
Yeah.
the winter, I can't even get out of the house, and I'm an outdoor person. And I'll freeze because I'm from Florida. And so I'm not getting to spend my enough time outside right now, and it's really bothering me.
Right, right. So let me ask you a question. You said you go to the river. I've only been to the ocean over there. I'd like to go down a river, but I'm kind of scared that there's gators along the side of the rivers. Maybe that's just a myth. I don't know.
No, we have gators, but I am fortunate. The area that I live, I got the Gulf of Mexico 20 minutes away, and I got some of the most amazing rivers 20 minutes away. My family actually has property up on a river, and my brother, my sister, and now one of their brother-in-laws all have camps up on the river, and my dad has one on the river. So I was raised on riverbanks, but we get out there, we mess with them. We go in their territory. We don't. There's little sloughs and stuff they like to hang out in. But my dad and my sister and I were up on Choctawhatchee River like 2 summers ago, and just getting it down the river's boat, and he's all of a sudden we see him pointing, and we look over, and there's this big gator just swimming down the river, and we're just like, hey, dude, and we kept going. But yeah, as long as you don't go messing with them, they're not going to really mess with you.
See, I thought about taking the kid down. They got kayaking tours and stuff. I thought about taking the kid down that way. But then, as I was looking, you saw gators on both sides of the damn river. And I was like, I don't know about all this.
What area was that, though? Central, South? I mean, I'm in Northwest Florida. And we have gators here too, but they're not just like, it's not like you're just going to run up and down the river and see them everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This was
but usually they leave you alone.
This was along the coast over there by Pensacola.
Well, that's my territory, man. I'm right outside of Pensacola.
I go to that area every year. I go to Foley, Gulf Shores.
I know where all that's at.
Panama City. That's my spot. Love to go over there.
Well, you'll have to visit the rivers, because we've got beautiful rivers here with great fishing, and I just love to get out there and ride on the boat with my daddy, like I did when I was a little girl, growing up riding on the boat with daddy. That's one of my favorite things, and so I'm like dying for summer to come on, and so is my sister. They're getting the camps back, summer ready, because they had to be winterized. You have to take care of your stuff in the winter, but they've been there. She was up there this weekend getting, because we're ready. We're like come on, bring it. We're ready to get out. Time
Missy
to get out
said,
and touch grass and
Mickey
stuff.
said that's around Anaheim. They have a Gator Festival. Okay.
They have, there's a lot of gator stuff that you could do in Florida. They have them people that like wrestle gators and shit. I would never do that. Y'all ever seen people do that? They're wrestling. I'm like, why would you do that?
I mean, they roll you anyway, don't they? They get that barrel
They
roll
do.
going on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were up there fishing. Well, it was last summer or the summer before. Me and my sister and my dad, and there's like little sloughs off the river. They call them. And Daddy likes to go up in them a little bit. We bait fish, right? And so we were doing that, and it's not a big deal. But we were going to go up in one, and we went up a little ways, and we spotted her. It was a mama gator, and she seen us. And we're just watching her, like, what is she doing? She's swimming back and forth, and she's letting us know, don't come any closer. And we didn't. We respected her. She respected us. We did our little bit of fishing, and we backed out and went on down the river and continued on our way. But we weren't gonna mess with Mama Gator. She'd have lit us up over that baby.
Right, exactly. How about you, Nina? You have any gator stories? Nina.
Maybe if I can get my thing on my. Yeah, I have a lot of gator stories. They actually taste really good.
Did they do? Nina, that's so crazy because growing up here in Florida, I had never eaten gator, right? And I go to my brother's in Alabama, and we're cooking out and everything, and he's like, you got to try this. I'm like, what are you fixing to make me try? You know me. I don't even eat deer, and I'm from a family of deer hunters. He's like, it's gator. And so he cooked it up, and they fried it. Oh, my God, it was good, girl.
Yeah, gator tail is delicious.
Yes, it was gator tail, Texas.
Yeah, delicious.
It really is good, isn't it?
Yeah, I had that at a place called the Shrimp Basket. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah, I loved it. Have I heard of the Shrimp Basket? Yes, sir.
The Shrimp Basket's my spot. They got some whitefish and some mahi-mahi.
That was my youngest kid. He's 18, but when he was growing up, that was me and him. He loved going there. That was our place. So, yes, very familiar with that. That's good. Yep, gator can be is good, but I'm not. They do gator hunts and stuff, especially over even in Alabama. But I know people who've done them, but I'm not down with going gator hunting. I'm not trying.
Nina, what you doing?
Putting my phone on charge.
Oh, okay.
What you doing?
How was your week, Nina?
My week was eventful.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Nina, what you do?
I've been down all kind of rabbit holes,
Oh, girl. I know, right?
Well,
Yeah.
so
You got to tie a 2x4 to your ass so you don't get too deep.
Look, the
Honey,
thing about
let me
them
tell you.
rabbit holes is we got to know when to come up for air, right?
Yeah, exactly.
the thing about it is, it's rabbit holes that you go looking for, and then there's rabbit holes you just say, oh, damn, I
They
fell in.
branch off. Yep. One rabbit hole can lead to another rabbit hole that can lead to another rabbit hole. Before you know it, you never forgot why you started.
Yeah, because what happened was I started off with Paradise Creek Street, okay? Because if you'll remember in the court hearings the other day, when they brought up Ridge Road, they brought up Paradise Creek.
Yeah.
So I researched it, and guess what's on Paradise Creek?
What?
The Student Recreation Center.
I know.
So I was like, okay, I know that they said that he went, I think they said he went to the student union like 2 or 3 times. And so then I researched if you could use your credentials from being a TA at Washington to like do stuff at University of Idaho, like if they were interchangeable and stuff. And sure enough, if you're a TA at Washington State, you can go and use it like to eat at Chick-fil-A or whatever, or use the rock wall. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So what is the Who said
Call it
that?
a they're talking about
But
eating
who's
bear.
talking? Yeah, who's
There's
but who? Paradise Creek was brought up early on in this case because of the boy that was found in the creek, drowned, right?
Yeah.
And it was just totally unrelated to this case. Yeah.
Ludicrous.
And so what do you mean you heard he went there from where? Heard it from where?
okay. One of the places that they have him on camera is Paradise Creek.
Because I've got all the camera locations listed and I don't recall them specifically mentioning Paradise Creek as a location. Because it runs right along the highway there, the Highway 8 there. Right?
Yeah, hang
That
on,
he
let
was
me get it. I'll
traveling.
read it to you.
Okay.
Gator doesn't really taste like chicken. It kind of tastes a little like crab meat a little bit. It's not. It's
But
nice
I would say more, yeah. I would agree with that statement, 12, that I thought so too. It didn't, I thought it would be more like chicken, but it wasn't. I think it was more like a crab meat. You're right.
Yeah, it's nice and tender. Nice and tender.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Very
talking
tender.
about bear. They're talking about eating bear. Have y'all ever ate bear?
I have not, and although we have the largest black bear population here in Northwest Florida, they do a lot to try to conserve these bears. They're actually considering opening up some bear hunts because we have an overpopulation right now because they are heavily protected. They're, and of course, with all the building for going out further into their areas, we have what we call the bears of South Santa Rosa County. They're likely to show up in people's yards at any given time. You know, we've got people all over town has a Facebook page, I believe it is, and they post their bear videos. And 3 years ago, when we moved out here where I'm at now in the country, it's like 15 miles to town. I know the black bears are everywhere. My dad lives in the woods, right? So I've always bears no big, so you just don't go messing with the bears. But I'd not run into one personally. So
Right.
I'm driving to town and I get almost right into the edge of town, and all of a sudden one runs out of the woods, runs right out into the highway. Me and the other car had plenty of time to react, and I'm like, holy cow, and I'm grabbing my son's arm, and I'm like, bear, bear, bear. He's like, what do you want me to do, Mom? I was like, I don't know. And then it's like goes to the median and it turns around and runs back in the woods. So that's my own close encounter with a bear.
I have never seen a bear. I'm gonna knock on wood, but they're also talking about eating elk. I've never ate elk. I don't know.
Me neither. We don't have elk around here, so I wouldn't have the chance, I guess, unless I went somewhere where they make, that's a thing. But I've heard it's good. I wouldn't know.
So the black bear is the aggressive one, right? Not the brown bear, the grizzly.
Yeah, we don't have grizzly bears. We have the Florida black bear, and they're a lot like a brown bear. But they're black bears, and they are heavily protected around here. But they're getting, even at the camp where my sister and my family go. They have campers, right? And it wouldn't be a good idea to be in a tent because you might get a bear in there. But even my sister and I were joking one night because we have a bathroom in her camper, but we was just walking around. So we was like, well, let's walk over toward the bathrooms. And she's got protection. And I was joking with her. I said, well, if a bear comes out, they say to play big and you scare them and you holler at them. And she's like, well, while you're hollering, I'll be pulling out my weapon. I was like, okay. She's like, I'm not going to about make myself big and holler. I'm just going to grab my weapon. I was like, okay, girl.
I had a big old 44 mag too with the long barrel.
I'm not going to tell you what she got, but yeah, don't go messing with my little sisters. You might get lit up.
Exactly.
Oh, bears better be careful.
Yeah.
We have a lot of wildlife around here. Steve Irwin, remember him?
Yeah.
Okay. He came down to Eglin Air Force Base to do a show on the eastern diamondback rattlesnakes, because we have a lot of those around the Eglin Air Force Base and around the woods where my dad lives and stuff. And he's squatting down in the woods and he's talking about them, and he stops and he's like, do you hear that? Do you hear that? And you can hear the rattlesnake tail going, and we were taught all our lives to walk in the middle of the dirt road, because that way we could see if the snake come out of the edge of the woods. And we were taught how to react when we saw these snakes. So it's part of growing up life in Florida. If you're out around the, wildlife areas, you
So
you raise your,
y'all have
yeah.
rattlesnakes over there? We have a lot of rattlesnakes over here in West Texas.
Yeah, y'all do. And we have a lot here in Florida. And people are surprised that those rattlesnakes are very prevalent out at Fort Pickens on Pensacola Beach as well. Like
On the
they're
beach?
everywhere. Yeah,
On the
yeah,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah. In fact, when they were searching for Tiffany Daniels, who went missing here years ago, her car was found out near the parking lot at Fort Pickens on Pensacola Beach. So they did a heavy search of Fort Pickens, and one of these search and rescue dogs was bitten by one of those rattlesnakes. He survived, but you don't want to trample off into the woods out there, because that little plot of area's got heavily got a lot of rattlesnakes in it.
Thanks for the info. I didn't even know that. I know
Yeah,
that
mhm.
there's a lot of individuals that have told me that they've woken up in the swimming pool. There's been gators in the pool, like
Oh yeah.
just having a good old
And
time in the damn swimming pool.
that's more prevalent, I'd say, down towards central Florida, right? Down instead of here. Now, if you got a house near the river with a pool, yeah, you might have a gator end up in there. But it's not something that we see a lot down here where we're at. They pretty much stay to the river, But down south, it's our central Florida and stuff. It's a little different. They have a lot more gators down there. We got some big gators that have been pulled from these rivers. We're talking, 8-10 feet long, even longer. One year they got a big gator. Gosh, this was probably in the mid 80s, late 80s. They ended up getting this gator that was like 12, 13 feet long. I can't remember, but I forget. He was a nuisance gator type thing going on. So when they captured the gator, they ended up opening up the gator, and inside this gator was at least 12 dog collars from hunting dogs that have just, because hunters will lose a dog here and there. Now they have trackers on them. Back then they didn't. But this gator was out there eating people's hunting dogs, And these dudes, if their dogs go missing while they're out hunting, they spend days trying to get that dog back, going out to the woods, calling the dog and all this thing. So some of them didn't get lucky and get their dogs back, but that gator got them. It's crazy.
Hey, dude, kid goes missing. Do they ever assume that a gator might have attacked them or something? I mean,
if what now? If who?
Like if there's missing children, like young missing children,
Well,
do they ever assume that a gator or something could have got them? I mean,
that would depend on where the child went missing. And now that you brought that up, there was a little boy with some autism. Gosh, this was probably back in the 90s. He went missing. For 3 days, that child was missing. And they finally found him on the river. And I don't remember the details of how he got where he was, but when they found the little boy, and he was nonverbal, so he was drawing pictures, right? And he was drawing pictures of gators and things like this and the river. And so they assume he only saw these things while he was out there. But luckily he was not harmed in any kind of way. He was found safe, But
I always wondered that about Sebastian, and I don't know enough about that case to really talk about it very in-depthly, but I always wondered if an animal had, gotten him or, possibly injured him and taken him off or anything like that. And I don't really speculate.
Yeah, some of us have wondered that, because I don't know about the gator population there, but I've looked into the wooded areas around there as to where he could have wandered into, what could have happened if he did wander into the woods. I would be more concerned with those caves. Did he fall in one? Because there are a lot of cave type situations going on out there. You could easily fall down. And in fact, we have people who have searched, and we do know that Sumner County did search some of those caves. Some were too dangerous to send people in, but you can send in the cameras and look around and things of that nature. So that is one theory. Did he wander off into the woods? That new video that just came down, I'm not so convinced that's not Sebastian walking around that neighborhood at 12:30 at night. And the person in the video appears to be walking back toward the construction site. And if you look at the map, Ward Lane is behind all of that. Ward Lane is a tiny little country road and it's dark. It goes into the cemetery, and from the cemetery you can go up to the construction site on the other side of the pond where the dog hit, right? That dog ran to that pond and dove into that pond, and that's where the scent ended.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I mean, like I said, I started, diving into that case, and I got about that far, where the dog dove into the pond. But, I just was doing too much with Idaho at that point, and I just left it alone because there was so much stuff going on at that point.
There's give information out there with that case that I don't pay attention to because I can't stand it. It's disgusting. But I did a news piece this morning on my show where this new video was given to the press, and counties had that same original video since 72 hours that Sebastian was missing. And I do know that Chris and Katie did an interview, and that's going to drop on the anniversary coming up this week that Sebastian's been gone for a year. And I know people are going to pick that interview to pieces. That's fine. They can do them. That's not what I'm there for. But because if you're going to tell me that the parents were involved on either side, then I need to believe the TBI is dumb as dirt.
Right.
And so which one do I believe? You know what I mean? I don't believe either set of parents did anything, honestly.
Right.
I don't.
So where did they get that video?
The video came from Kellen Road, one of the neighbors there, and that's one road over from where Sebastian was or lived, and that going back toward the construction area. And Steve, they didn't release the whole video, and he said that the reason they didn't, that you can't see it on this video yet, but there was another person out there.
You're kind of cutting out a
For
little.
walking. Am I cutting out?
A little bit.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
now.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, so that might be a little bit better. I just turned on Wi-Fi. I am sitting outside.
Yeah, you're better.
She shed.
Now we lost you altogether.
It was 12:30 at night.
Okay.
But there was another person on the side street walking their dog, and it appeared that the person walking on Kellen may have seen that person walking the dog and ducked behind a car so that they wouldn't be seen. And then they turn around and walk back the other direction, which is toward the construction site. And that's all we know.
Is this about the same time that the two flashlights were seen?
Those were not flashlights, but
They were flashlights?
no,
Okay.
those were not. That has been
They-
heavily they're still saying that was the trash truck, and it wasn't even from Sebastian's actual immediate neighborhood. It was like it's like a fishbowl almost. It was like I'll tell you who you can deep dive that on, Michelle After Dark, because she don't play around, and she's done with all that drama too. But what she does take serious looks at is what we do know, fact-based information. And that I know that there's a lot of videos out there by certain people claiming that's absolutely flashlights. But you know what? We're a bunch of armchair detectives. We don't work for the FBI analyzing videos as our daily job. So
Right. So
if it's,
Let me ask you, Salty, is it the same type of atmosphere or worse over there in the Sebastian Rogers case that it is in Idaho?
worse.
Do people still speculate and, see stuff and
Yes.
the lights and stuff
Yep.
like that? The same type of stuff?
Yeah, because there was an image produced, a week and a half ago by certain channels, and it's a blurry image, and they're telling you that you see Chris and Katie Proudfoot carrying Sebastian out of the home and into a vehicle. Or it's like, no. And we just are learning that Katie was wearing her Apple Watch that night. Y'all don't think the cops have looked into the movement or the activity that watch was recording? Things
Yeah.
like that. And there are people who claim that, well, Seth kidnapped him and got him stashed. Well, let me tell you this. If I kidnapped my own child and stashed him somewhere to get back at his dad, I'm going to make contact with my baby sometime during this past year, or the person who's got him stashed for me. You don't think TBI is not onto that rumor on social media and they're not watching that just in case?
Yeah.
Are we to believe that Seth would never make contact for a solid year with that random person who's got his kid stashed for him? And that's the same
Yeah, I
side
don't-
that's going to tell
I
you
don't know
Katie did
that-
it.
I mean, it's interesting to hear all this stuff because, I don't know a lot or anything really about that case. I know that there's a lot of channels in the Krama. They go after each other every day about it because I see them on my recommendation. But other than that, I don't know anything about it.
Leslie and Billy, I haven't watched the Mob Crew stuff because I know Steve disputes it, right? And Michelle has done I'm not going to get into the Mob Crew situation, but there are other creators that do just as good a work that tell you that's not what you see. But the dog walking thing, I mean, they know who that person was. TBI knows who that person was. They've already spoke to them.
So do they? What you're
you know.
saying is this person that was walking the dog, he saw Sebastian, or
No, never did.
Okay.
Never, but TBI has identified that person and spoke to them.
Okay.
And that's all we do know.
This happened in Hendersonville, Tennessee, right?
Yes, it did. Sebastian went missing the same day that Madeline Soto went missing.
Okay.
Same day, February 26th of last year. So
I
this
remember
February, we're coming up on the year anniversary, of Sebastian being gone. And I know there's, I feel more along the lines he walked out of that house. There were things going on in Sebastian's life that were stressful. There were things, his dad put a lot of personal information out there he probably shouldn't have about his own son. It came directly out of his mouth, not anybody else's.
Right. I remember
that. Yeah. Sebastian was a 15-year-old boy. He did have some spectrum issues. I'm not saying Sebastian was a bad kid. I'm not saying that at all. But there were things going on, right? And they're trying to figure out the best to help Sebastian and get him to where he needs to be. I don't know if he was feeling stress of his parents and his dad, because there was all this talk about he was getting ready to move in with his dad and all this stuff. And all these conversations that were probably going on around him about him. Did he say, you know what? Did somebody lure him out of that house? Did he confide in someone about his fears and what was going on in his life? And did that person say, well, you know what? Just come meet me by the pond and it'll all be okay.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Do you think he's been trafficked?
That's a hard call because he doesn't fit the profile.
Okay.
They don't usually lure all right. So I have talked to investigators working missing persons cases locally. And I had a long talk with one night from a private team about trafficking.
Okay.
Because there was a another girl missing that at some point people became convinced she was trafficked, but she didn't fit the profile because she was 24 years old by that time. They're looking more for the people who aren't going to be missed once they go missing. You see what I'm saying? Street people. So I don't think Sebastian was lured for that purpose.
Another case that really baffled me when I first got into true crime was the Summer Wells case.
Leslie, I know she was the last one to see him, but what does that prove anything? And let me tell you, I have two boys, right? My 18-year-old was a big gamer, still is. At 15 years old, if he's in his bedroom and I'm in my bedroom or the living room and I hear a thud, and I've heard all kinds of noises coming out of my kid's bedroom, and I yell out to him, "Boy, what are you doing in there?" "Nothing, Mom. Time to go to bed then." Okay. I may not get up and go check on my 15-year-old if he's awake and moving around in that room, playing his game, yelling at his friends, bumping up against the wall with his chair or whatever's going on in there. I might just yell out. But now, after Idaho and Sebastian, I get up and check all thuds in the night now.
Right, exactly.
But
I don't know enough about Summer Wells case either, Leslie. I did a couple of videos on that, but it just threw me for a loop. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get into that mindset of where and how that went, so I just left it alone. Like, it doesn't, that case, there's certain cases that I can't wrap my mind around it. I can't go there. You know what I mean? So I don't really focus on every case, but the other cases, I guess, with the murders and stuff like that, I can really go down there. But like seeing kids and stuff, I just hit the dead end, and I'm just like, okay, I can't go any further.
No,
with this.
you can't. It's too much, and sometimes you don't realize when you start covering a case like these two when they first happened, you don't know how they're going to end up. So I have followed Maddie and Sebastian's case from day one.
Right.
Maddie's birthday was yesterday, by the way, and would have been her 14th birthday. And there was a big tribute in the local community, and there was a news piece. I ran on that this morning as well. But who told Leslie? Let me ask you a question, hun. Who has water on the brain? Sebastian? What does that statement mean, baby? I'm not quite following that. I know there's a lot of rumors out there, and those are all rumors that Katie did something. But I have to say, with the navigation system on her vehicle, and if she was wearing an Apple Watch, do we not think the TBI and the FBI have investigated her movements thoroughly? Does the grainy video, somebody walks out of that house at one point, walks to the garbage can that night. Do you think none of that was investigated thoroughly? So at some point, I have to start calling out TBI for doing a lousy job. I mean, I don't know how they still get there that Katie had to do it because she was the last one to see him. And, like I said, I didn't get up and check all of my 15-year-old's thuds. Like, boy, go to bed. He responds to me. I know he's awake. He's alert. He's good. Go to bed. So,
if there wasn't any DNA on that, I'm sure they searched for DNA on the trash can. They searched.
Sebastian had certain conditions, Leslie. I had a cousin who had that condition, right? There's shunts. Sebastian didn't have a shunt that I know of. I think there was some talk about that. That doesn't mean that. Are you thinking maybe he was having a seizure and she didn't get up to go check on her kid? Because he yelled back, "I'm fine, Mom," according to her. And she says, "Okay, go to bed." So, logically and being honest, I didn't go check on all my 15-year-old's thuds that came out of that room if I yelled out and he responded back to me.
I mean, you would have had an alarm system in case that door opened or some kind of chime.
Yeah, you would think. But if you got a 15-year-old, can you let yourself out without turning the alarm off? I mean, this kid wasn't inadequate. Sebastian wasn't. People want to act like he was the baby that couldn't do anything for himself, and that's not true.
Yeah.
It's simply not true. He was very well I mean, you see him eating at the restaurant. I know Coffin Daffer wants to tell everybody, look, he's eating like he's starving. Jen, I raised two boys. Both of my boys ate that way, no matter what time they ate last. One, my daughter couldn't stand to sit near because of the way he ate. He acted like he had never had a meal in his life. That's how 15-year-old boys eat that I know anyway. They just eat.
I hope that, somehow that the case has some kind of closure for the families one way or the other. You know what I mean? And that's all that I ever hope for in these cases is the families left behind. They get dragged through the mud. They get
through the mud. Leslie, I'm aware that people want to talk about the mother-in-law's vehicle being out there and they drive the same car. I know all of that stuff. And after seeing all of it laid out for a year, I still don't think either sets of these parents were involved. That's just my personal opinion. So I
Yeah.
can't, there's no definitive, there's nothing to back up that Katie did it or to back up that Seth did it. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, that's what fuels these chats. I think a lot of times is the sake of discussing it for hours, and there's no end in sight because nobody really is any more prevalent to information than the people that are really deep diving it. So they're quick to debunk certain things that they don't agree with because they haven't looked into it deeper than the surface, and that's for all the cases, not just this. Idaho, it's, Gilgo Beach. I mean, all of them. It's like people take sides because they only hear a part of it, and then all of a sudden they're ready to take a side. It's like, investigate the case.
Leslie, I do check, honey, I check on my kids. I live with my grown son and my grandbaby because we lost my daughter-in-law 3 years ago. So, like I just said, y'all need to bring me some definitive facts that show Katie did anything wrong besides the rumor mill out there. And when you got these panels blaming Katie, they're also fighting with each other, doxing each other, calling the law on each other, filing lawsuits on each other. How can I trust a damn thing any of them tell me? And that's all I need to say. I'm not going to get into none of that with all these other creator stuff because I know what's out there.
We're going to agree to disagree on that.
I'll tell you, I only watch one creator anymore when it comes to Sebastian Rogers, and that's Michelle After Dark, because she's not going to put up the nonsense and the rumors. She's going to dig deep into what we do know.
I've heard her on the Idaho stuff. I was listening to her stuff whenever she was discussing Idaho, and she's very thorough. She's very thorough.
I've been watching Michelle for a long time, but even before, her Delphi coverage was excellent. Her Idaho coverage has been, she rocked that live the other morning. She rocks her Sebastian Rogers lives. And I think if anybody really wants a good deep dive into that case and to understand what we do actually know compared to what's just been rumor milled, that's a good channel to go watch. That's what I'll say about it. I don't cover Sebastian a lot because there's nothing to talk about except this latest video that I'm concerned is that Sebastian walking around that neighborhood at 12:30 at night. Because here's the thing, say Chris and Katie are innocent and Seth is innocent. So that means whoever lured that child out of that house and has him is loving every minute of the fact that nobody's concerned he could be taken away by a stranger, because right now everybody's convinced one of them parents did it, and nobody's looking into it. So he's golden right now, right? But if TBI comes out and says, hey, this video, possibility this is Sebastian, he did end up in a car, now that person knows, hey, they are on to me. And what would he do with Sebastian then?
Right.
That's what worries me the most with this case. This person, if there is a person out there that has Sebastian, they're sitting there laughing right now going, this is great because nobody's looking at me.
Right.
And at some point we have to.
Well, Mods, if you could put Salty's link in there and put Nina's link in the chat, I think I'm going to wind it down because I got to be up early. But thank you both for being up here. Is there anything you'd like to say to the chat before we close this out?
Oh, but great, Leslie. I love you, honey. You know that. So I'm not trying to argue with my Leslie. I've known her for a long time in the community. But I know she's seen a lot out there too. And you never know exactly. And that's why I'm saying keep an open mind at least, because if there is a predator that lured that child out, then there's a lot of people missing the mark right now, and that's dangerous and sad.
Right. Exactly.
But, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being up here, Salty. Hopefully
I just woke up, so we'll go back to bed.
I could be on your panel. I mean, I'd like to go up on your panel one day. So
I'll have to. You work during the day. You're always like popping in and hanging out for a little bit. And so,
I'm always at work during the day. So the evening, the only time I don't think you do evening time, do you?
I don't do a lot in the evenings. By the time the evening comes, I'm usually tired and I can't hardly stay awake. Like I just woke up a little bit ago. I wouldn't never fell asleep at your dinner, and I woke up. I was like, "Dang, what time is it?" And it was like
Hey,
9:30. I was like, "Shoot."
it
You
happens.
know?
It happens.
But I do
Nina, you got
sometimes.
anything? Nina, you got anything for the chat before you go?
No, the only thing that I will say is from I know that Sebastian has that 6q27 chromosomal
Yes, he does.
deletion,
Yeah.
and I think that may be what Leslie's talking about is from the chromosomal deletion. He was supposed to wear a chest plate because he had his chest was like, what's it called, enclaved, not
Well,
enclaved.
we don't know for a fact that he was supposed to wear one. I've deep dove that condition. Trust me. I've looked into it. So the minute it came out that he had that, I'm like, what is this? I need to know more. So I went and did a deep dive on that condition and what all the effects could be. But we clearly see Sebastian functioning as a normal 15-year-old boy in that restaurant that night eating. I'm just saying, yes, he may have had a condition, but did that cause what happened to him?
No, I was just saying that may be what Leslie was talking about because
Referring to, yeah. I gotcha. Yeah, he did have the whatever you call it, deletion and chromosomal deletion. And there were, he was still going to the doctors. He was still being treated, and they were trying to figure out the best treatment plan for him moving forward. If you actually listen to what's being said by these parents, take away the BS, like, well, don't listen. Like I was trying to watch something the other night and somebody's like, well, I can't stand that host. I'm like, well, I'm not even paying attention to the host. I'm taking what I can from the interview with the person they're conducting the interview with. Right. So I pay attention to the things being said by those, but with this case, I quit watching all content on it. Because all it did was muddy the waters, and it didn't help find Sebastian at all. People are making bank off the backs of that child right now.
Yes,
I'll say that. And we even had publicly buzzed on my show a while back, and he said the same thing about Idaho 4, and he was part of that. And he hates that it got that way because in the beginning, the crazier you could put out about Idaho, that got you clicks and views. If you did anything other than that, you weren't going to get a view because people weren't going to. And I commend him for coming out and saying that publicly on my stream.
Yeah.
So you've got to be real careful with these cases, guys. That's all. Use your common sense, use your analytical brain, use your investigative armchair skills, and look at it honestly, and ask yourself questions. Even in my chat today, people want to challenge my thoughts, and I'm good with that because maybe I'm going down the wrong path. Maybe I'm not understanding it until somebody says something like, oh, you know what, that makes sense now. So the conversations need to be opened up more than just going down these one lanes and staying there and digging in on them.
Indeed. Well, have a good night, Salty.
Well, you too. Thanks for having me up for a little bit. You guys all have a good night. And I'll see you around at 12. We'll have to schedule something up because I do like your psychological take on things, and I do want to kind of like look into that with you. So that would be fun.
All right. Thank you so much. Maybe on a weekend. Maybe next
Yes.
weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Right. We'll work on that.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Good night, Nina. Good night, 12. Good night, chat.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed that. We have to, call it a night because I got to be up early, and I know some of y'all probably do as well. That was quite interesting, the case that Nina presented in the beginning. That does show that, not every police department is on the up and up, but as you heard, the people holding them accountable, they weren't above the law. They did get charged with it. They did get arrested. So, it happens. So you guys have a lovely night, and I'm going to leave you with some music before we go. And here we go.
Now maybe I didn't mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway. And then maybe some would say your life was sad, but you lived it anyway. And so maybe your friends that stand around you watch you crumble as you fall to the ground. And then someday your friends that stand beside as you were flying, oh, you were flying all so high. But then someday people look at you, they're what they call their own, they watch you suffer. Yeah, hear you calling home. And then someday we could take our time to brush the leaves aside so you can't reach us. Hey, but you left me far behind. Now, didn't mean to treat you so bad, but I did it anyway. Now it's in my some would say you left with what you had, but you couldn't tell the pain down and out. Couldn't share the pain and watch she suffer. Now maybe I could have made my own mistakes, but I live with what I've known. And then maybe we might share in something great. Won't you look at where we've grown? Won't you look at where we've grown? And then someday comes tomorrow holds sense of what I feel for you in my mind as you trip the fire line in that cold day